stop myself. When the higher psychic state is reached, you're working yourself out of the animal and the selfish and the greed and the avarice and the pursuit of personal emoluments, attention, spotlight, and. Now you're working your way out of that at the higher psyche. And the one compelling urge, when one reaches that state in his ongoing development, is to become aware of the individual self that represents his true being. In other words, he's trying to be a being and not just a person among overall group of the race psyche persons. There's been quite a little agitation recently in literary circles about conforming and non-conforming. There's been quite a race psyche urge, belong, be a good fellow, don't get offside, don't be queer. I wish I knew some of the language of these younger adolescents. Don't be a square or queer or something, you see. Don't be a character. See? That's the person, integrated in a race of persons. No individualization. No urge to be individualized. But now that is not true when one reaches the higher psyche. Then his whole motivation behind, unconscious, of any way he tries to describe it, his whole motivation, he wants to know himself as a distinct individual. Now, how does he pursue it? He tries to create something of his own. Just create something, if it's only hell. You know, he wants to go out and create something on his own. He wants to build a house. He wants to work at some hobby, avocation. He wants a business of his own. He don't want to go to work for any big company and be a number on the board. He wants something to do himself. Now look at the far-flung and wide ways in which he's going to seek to be distinct from the herd. The fact of the matter, he wants to get away from the herd. That's another indication. Because below that point, they want to herd up. Gregarious instinct. They feel strength in numbers. And every person wants to sell himself so that other persons will believe in him, so that his inferiority complex on the personal level will be fortified, and he begins to think that he is something. Now that's the urge below. But when you cross that line and reach the higher psyche, you're seeking distinctness outside of the herd. You even want to go off somewhere and be alone. Or you want to shop and you want to create something. If you have to build your own furniture, it's yours. You feel something, individualized. Or you can build a gigantic business that represents you as a distinct individual. But behind all of this, there's one motivation. He's trying to find his real, individualized higher self through a multiplicity of activities. Now, instead of going into this psychological side of it and psychoanalytical side of it, let us go offset from it. The process of self-development, in the process of self-development, one can work with that motivating urge and immeasurably shortcut the process and go directly to it. Or he can take several times around in the palingenetic process and do it slowly. But many of us don't want that slow life after life method. We want to go directly to it. And that going directly to it. Now to what? Awareness of yourself as a distinct individual. Now that going directly to it constitutes this lesson this morning. This caption, being in and becoming out to the realization of being, is another way of expressing going directly to the consciousness of your higher self, your real individualized self. Heretofore, we were only being in the crowd, the oversoul, the race psyche, in the mother, not yet emerged therefrom, in the embryonic state, which the development of the person is. It's the embryonic phase. Birth has not, the real birth, has not yet taken place. The birth of the Christ. So, it's represented as a being in the crowd, the race psyche, the mother. Then the process of becoming a being, is what we have reference to by going directly to the understanding, the realization, the functional ability to be a distinct individual, a being. Now it so happens that nature has provided the way whereby it can be done, going directly and shortcutting the slow Aeonian process. The mother, nature, has established the currents, magnetic forces, joined and motivated by the positive power, the power to be conscious, which makes those forces in every person, that's every psychic nature, electromagnetic. So that the very force, energy, electromagnetic, dynamic power with which we function as a person becomes the means whereby we can develop the individual, the being, and develop the conscious awareness of it, which is something beyond. Now those electromagnetic forces are called the Ida Pingula currents. May I ask you, why do we borrow those Sanskrit words? Ida Pingula. Because in the West, we have not developed a language. Now, we've got an objective language, a scientific language, a commercial language. But we have not as yet developed a language for the more subtle forces and powers with which we function and which operates within us. So we borrow the Sanskrit terms. Now the Greeks understood this of the Periclean age and before, and they developed what they call the staff of Hermes. Now Hermes is the individual, and it's called the caduceus. And the MDs to this day use it as their symbol. And I've often wondered if the MDs understood their own symbol. It's a staff. A serpent is coiled one way, representing the magnetic forces, negative. A serpent is also coiled the other way, representing the positive, the electric, the positive forces. Now, just supply the labels. Ida Pingula. Positive and negative currents. Positive and negative forces with which you function in your psyche, and from which the vital dynamism that we call the nerve currents, afferent, positive, negative, again, from which the nerve energy is derived. Now, those who want to study the anatomy of the psychic nature, we can lay it out. We have it all dumbfoundingly developed. Like a physiologist can understand the structure of the nervous system and how the forces function, the vital dynamism in the nervous system. So we know the precise structure of the psychic nature, in which the Ida Pingula currents, positive, negative currents, function. So in introducing the words Ida Pingula, we're not introducing something foreign to you. You couldn't have a thought or a feeling without them. Couldn't function for a split second without those positive, negative currents. And when they withdraw, you're done. Disintegration. As soon as they withdraw. Which they do. When the cycle comes to its close, they simply enfold, withdraw. Which, when we get to describing the palingenetic process, I'll describe that minutely. But just now, those very forces, the Ida Pingula currents, is what we learn to lay hold of and direct them instead of allowing them to find their own way through the opposition due to ignorance and stupidity and asininity. They have to find their way in spite of all of the ignorance and stupidity and asininity. They still got to find their way through to the fulfillment of the purpose for which they are given, established in the structure by nature, by the mother. Now to shortcut this, the structural description, to shortcut the structural description of it, and for the sake of this work and this lesson, there's a spot, physiologically speaking. Now watch that, because it's not in the head at all, it's in the psyche. So physiologically speaking, there's a spot about an inch in from the very crown of the head in every one of us. And we diagram that spot here this morning. It is a most brilliant point of light. When the forces ascend and awaken that center, we label that center the conarial center, after the Greeks. But if we were raised in the Orient, and a teacher was describing this center, he would call it the thousand-petaled lotus that opens up. And what a wonderful symbol. The roots down, way down, in the mud and the slime, now relative to this brilliant light. The roots way down in the mud and the slime, the evolutionary background out of which we have emerged. And that stalk going up through the waters, psychic nature. And finally, on top of the waters, out of the psyche, yet resting on it, a marvelous lotus flower opens to the sun, to the light, to the Christ. I wish I was an artist, like one I'm looking at. I would love to paint that picture and put in it the meaning that it symbolizes. Well, now I have to retreat just a moment. There is one unvarying rule to which there is no exception that I found. And that rule is this: the positive negative currents, ida pendula, the positive negative currents of your psyche and mine will follow the direction sustained by concentrated attention. Now notice I didn't say thought. Focus of attention. The less thinking now, the better. At this point. Don't forget that rule. It works every day in you and in me. What you focus your interest on, what you love to do, what you want, there's where you're focused. Your attention is focused. Your psychic currents will flow in the direction sustained by the focus of your attention. You know, I stand up here and I'll give these tips, the most valuable that you ever could hear anywhere. Many of us have proved it. And yet you muff it. You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. Anything. Within the range of your evolutionary state, of course. you want to do and you can be anything you want to be if you will hold the focus of your attention up on it. Period. Hold. Did you get that? Oh, yes. You'll start enthusiastically. About 10 minutes a day, and it may last a week. You're doing well. A week. And then you drift back, you see, in your old habits, tracks. You'll drift back and forget all about it. You don't hold. Steady. Day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. Hold steady. And your forces will begin to flow. Ida Pingula, your psychic forces will begin to flow creatively in the direction sustained by the focus of your attention. Long time ago, and here in this classroom, I have asked you, what do you want? Why don't you take stock of yourself and your life and your home and your situation? Whatever that situation might be, invoice it, look it over. Look around. I used to go window shopping when I was an itinerant teacher. I'd arrive in Chicago or Timbuktu, and first thing I wanted to do after driving all day is go out for a walk. And I had my favorite sport, window shopping. I walked all around Marshall Field, to all the four sides, you know, it's a block big. And I would look at everything in the windows, window shopping. And I'd say to myself, what do you want? Do you want this? Do you want that? And then go on window shopping. Do you want this? Do you want that? And when I got through window shopping, and even down Fifth Avenue, I said, boy, you can have all my share of it. I don't want any of it. I want the minimum of the necessities. Clothes. Well, look, our new suit. Did you notice that? First time 25 years. But I had to be taken by the ear and led down to the slaughter. But however, I want the minimum. Warm place to sleep, sufficient food, and clothes. That's all. And that only as the means to the other end. More light, more light, more light, more light. More light. And the individualized power and wisdom to handle it after you get it. Well, now let's go back here. Focus attention in the crown of your head. Now, this is the way we do it. We close our eyelids and then look like you're looking up and in, not around and on top. Close your eyelids, look up and in to this one little spot at the crown of the head, just in under the crown. Now hold, as long as you can, that focus of attention on that spot. And then inhale the breath in your lungs until you have your lungs so full of air you can't inhale anymore. And then put some more in. You must have a very full breath. Then inhale gradually. And exhale gradually. And inhale slowly and gradually a full breath while you hold the focus weeks, at least 3 times a day, and a minimum of 15 minutes each time. Now that's a minimum. Because by and by, something's going to happen and a world is going to open bigger than this objective world, bigger than the psychic world, that will be so fascinating to you and so sweet and marvelous that you will never have to be urged to do it. You'll have to be urged not to do it, to stay here a little while longer. But until you're breaking in, a minimum of 15 minutes before you allow yourself to go to sleep at night, and the first thing when you get up in the morning, and then catch some time during the day. Hold that focus until your psyche begins to pick up, you know, that lesson we had on suggestion, the way the psyche operates under the power of suggestion. Now, apply that lesson at this point until the psyche begins to pick up the suggestion and goes to work on it. Be patient, because if your forces, the positive and negative forces of your psychic self, your psychic field, has been going willy-nilly all over the place, uncontrolled, be patient until you whip them in line. Get them organized. Get them to work. Channel them. Now, one can't jump into it if they've had years and years of going 6s and 7s all over the place. Mad about this, happy about the other thing, you know, way up, soaring and soaring today, and way down in the dumps tomorrow. Willy-nilly. Be patient. They haven't learned to obey. Now you've got to train them to obey you, the individual. Put that care on the track. Now take that care off of the track. Put that care back on the track. Who's foreman around here of this road gang? Talk to those forces. Put them in shape. Channel them. This will pay the greatest dividends beyond price. If you only knew, you birds that don't know nothing, if you only knew that there was a pearl of great price buried out there in that field. My gracious alive, there'd be a stampede and a total eclipse of the sun with the dust. Digging, digging. Find that pearl of great price. Here it is. You've got a pearl so priceless that you can take it with you and bring it back again. Treasures laid up, for no one can steal it from you. Your being. Because this is what it's going to lead right into. Your being. The consciousness of being an individual. A powerhouse. In yourself. Prove it. Or disprove it if you can, please. Work on it hard in order to disprove it. That'll get you there too.